Hello and welcome to A Stitch in Time. Today is Thursday, April 26, 2018, and this is episode 57. My name is Carol and I am known as Knits and Pearls on Ravelry. The show notes for this and every episode can be found on the blog and also in the episode thread in the Ravelry group. If you'd like to get in touch, you can do so via private message on Ravelry or by leaving me a comment on YouTube, and I will try and get back to you as soon as I can. Hi everyone, welcome to all new and returning viewers. Thanks for joining me today. It is an absolutely gorgeous sunny day here in the Fraser Valley of British Columbia, Canada. I live about 100 kilometers or 60 miles east of Vancouver. We've had just a lovely stretch of weather, sort of in low to mid 20s Celsius, and today it's supposed to get up to 28, which is like summer weather. So I'm in sleeveless top, capris, bare feet. It's awesome. I know the weather's supposed to change in a few days, but we'll enjoy it while we can. I went out for a walk this morning, and all the different trees are blooming, blossoming. There's still some spring bulbs like tulips mainly that are blooming. The azaleas and rhododendrons are starting to bloom too. It's just a gorgeous time of year. I just love all the spring flowers. Pardon me, I'm still not 100% over my cold. So I'm still dealing with some coughing and throat clearing. I'll try and keep that to a minimum or edit it out if I can. I can't believe it's already been a week since I last recorded. It's just gone by in a flash. Done a fair bit of knitting, but nothing too intricate because a lot of it's been done while traveling or visiting. But I have lots on the needles, but I only worked on 3 projects this week, so that's what I will share with you. Also, I've got a couple books to talk about, and then I'll tell you what's been going on in the past week. So settle in. I have nothing fancy to drink today, just a glass of water. I just finished a cup of tea, so I didn't really need another one. It's actually the noon hour, and I probably should have had lunch before I sat down to record, but I was kind of ready and just wanted to get into it. So hopefully my stomach doesn't growl or something, or if it does, you won't be able to hear it. So let's jump in with the knitting, shall we? I have a new project this week. In honor of seeing the goldfinches last week, I decided to cast on a pair of plain socks in the Goldfinch colorway of West Yorkshire Spinners Signature 4-ply. So the labels here, and it's color 840 Goldfinch. So I actually got quite a bit done. Here's the first sock. Pardon me. So you can see I cast on in a complementary color. This is color 632 Cinnamon Stick. So I did my ribbing in that, and then I joined in the Goldfinch. And then I've done the heel in 510 Cayenne Pepper. And I don't know if you can tell on camera or not. I split this red stripe and then added in the red heel, and you can, I can see that the red of the heel is very slightly different than the red of the sock, but overall it's not enough to be that noticeable and to make a difference. So I could live with that for sure. And then I'm pretty sure from some other socks that I've knit in the Signature 4-ply striping yarns, I'm pretty sure that I'm going to end with this yellow. So I have plans to do the toe in, this is 240 Butterscotch. So I think that'll be really fun, just to use the different colors from the stripes to do the cuff heels and toes. I've never done that before, so it just seemed like a fun thing to do. And I'm using about half of the Goldfinch yarn, so I'll have enough to do another pair of socks down the line, and I might mix it up. I'm not really sure what I will do then, but these are kind of fun right now. So I got that sock done as far as the heel, and then I am just working my way, whoops, just down the leg on the second sock. So I think I have one more striping sequence to go. Probably go up to another, yeah, I think I have, all right, yeah, one more set of stripes, and then it'll be time for the heel. So I think those are going to be really nice. I'm excited about them. I can't believe actually how much I've got done, but like I said, I've had lots of traveling time and visiting time, so it's been a good project to work on for that. So more socks. You haven't seen this project in a couple of weeks because I didn't work on it until picked it up again yesterday. So these are the Magnolia Socks by Helen Stewart. It's part of the Handmade Sock Society. This is the second pattern in the collection. Now, if you remember, I cast on these socks in this pink yarn, which is Cherry Tree Hill Super Sock Solid in the Blossom colorway. There's the label for that. And I wasn't really excited about it. It's kind of just a plain pink yarn. There's nothing wrong with it. It just wasn't that exciting. So we were driving out to Cameron's cousin's place on Tuesday, and I passed some, pardon me, some magnolias that were yellow. I'd never seen a yellow magnolia before, and I got thinking about, maybe I should take out the pink and cast them on in this yellow yarn. And then I looked at how much I'd already done on the first pink sock, and I thought, no, you know what, you're crazy. Don't do it. See, I'm learning. Don't do it. Maybe there'll be a yellow flower sock pattern or yellow flower themed sock pattern in this collection later on, and that'll work for that. So I talked myself into some sense for a change, and kept going with the pink. But interestingly, when I was out on my walk this morning, I actually saw a yellow magnolia in someone's yard. It was a different variety of the ones I had seen on Tuesday, but yeah, I never knew that there was such a thing. It was very pretty. Maybe that's something I'll look for when we landscape our backyard, because it was really, really pretty. Anyway, so I did carry on with the pink yarn, and I'm as far as I'm ready to do the heel now. So I think it is working out beautifully. I had never had any doubts about how pretty this pattern looked in this yarn. It's just not the most exciting yarn to work on, but that's okay. I think it's going to be nice when it's done. And you know, now I've got this far, I kind of have the pattern down, and so it's definitely working up a little bit more quickly than the first half of the leg did. So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting back to these and getting the heel done and such. So try not to shake the camera here. So another Helen Stewart pattern I'm going to show you is the Impressionists Shawl Mystery Knit Along. So again, if you don't want to be spoiled, all 4 clues are out now, and I'm going to show you up to clue 3. So if you don't want to be spoiled, this is the time to look away. As I mentioned last week, I wasn't 100% happy with my first version of the shawl. Well, I guess it was actually my second version. And so I cast on all over again in 3 new yarns. Pardon me, I'm so sorry. Just got that froggy thing going on. I think when I showed it to you last week, I was only about this far. So the yarns I'm using now are Knit Pick Stroll in Blue Violet Tonal. And my color B is this Mama Llama Down Under Sock. And it was like a one-of-a-kind colorway dye. It was dyed for the color co-op club that the Unique Sheep used to run, and this was from January 2012. It was based on a photograph. And then color C, I have Knit Picks Gloss Fingering in the Kanai colorway. So as I said, I'm on I finished clue 3, which means I'm 80% of the way now through this shawl. So I will show you version 3. Let's see if I can spread it out a bit here. It's definitely much more impressionist. As I said last week, it reminds me of the colors in Monet's Water Lilies, or is that right? Water Lilies? Why do I want to say something else? Anyway, yeah, I think it's Water Lilies paintings with this purple and this tealy green. It's very watercolor-ish. The colors blend quite subtly. And yeah, I'm happy with how it's turning out. It's definitely more in line with that Impressionist theme. So you can see that the top is striped with color A and B, and then there's a little bit of striping with color C in here, so that teal stands out a little more strongly. And then this color B, this lace here, and then the lace in color A, and then you can see now the two colors are striping with color C, and then the remainder of the shawl now is done in this color C. So there's a little bit of eyelets coming up, and then some plain knitting, and then a picot edge. So there we go. So yeah, I'm definitely more satisfied with this version. As I say, it's more in keeping with sort of the theme. And it's been a nice knit because it's not really complicated. So I've been able to work on this in the car sometimes too, when I don't have to look down too much. So yeah, so there we go. That's my knitting this week. I just put this onto a 40-inch needle. You can see it's even on a 40-inch, it's still really gathered up. So I can only imagine how large this is going to block out as far as wingspan goes. See it all? There we go. So I've been reading 2 books, or more accurately, I've been reading one and listening to another. So my first book, I've moved on to my next Agatha Christie. You can see it's called Hercule Poirot's Christmas, and it was previously titled A Holiday for Murder and Murder for Christmas. And it is about halfway through. An older gentleman invites his family for Christmas. 2 of his sons that have been estranged from him for a couple of decades, and he's not a very nice man, and lo and behold, Christmas Eve he is murdered. And so coincidentally, just very handily, Poirot happens to be visiting a policeman close by and ends up involved in the case. So enjoying that. Been mostly reading that at night before bed. And then partly while I was traveling, like on the ferry and stuff, I've been listening to Higher Loyalty, Truth, Lies, and Leadership by James Comey. As most of you know, it's James Comey was the former director of the FBI, and it is his book. It's not just about his recent time during the Trump administration. He actually goes right back to the beginning of his career and discusses the different bosses and and leaders he's had over the years and the qualities he has admired or not admired in the various people he has served under or worked under throughout his life. So it's quite interesting. Of course, it's sort of the book of the moment, and you know, I can't lie, it's intriguing. Makes for interesting reading, given all what's going on in the news. It's kind of, I think, doesn't matter which side of politics you land on. I just think it's an interesting and unique time in American politics right now, and in history. And of course, we share a border with the U.S., and so what happens there has a direct impact on what happens here in Canada. So I do watch it with some interest, and yeah, I think I only have about 20 minutes left in the book, so I'm almost done. And I can't say there's lots of surprises because a lot of things have been covered in various interviews on TV, etc. But James Comey is narrating it, so that makes it, I think, just a little bit more personal, a little bit more interesting. So that just leaves me to talk about what's been going on this past week. As I mentioned last time I recorded, my husband's aunt had passed away. She was my mother-in-law's twin sister, and she died just 3 days shy of their 93rd birthday. So we had planned to go over to Victoria for the weekend to celebrate my mother-in-law's birthday. So we did proceed as planned. You know, obviously it was somewhat bittersweet, but my mother-in-law's doing really well, and we had a really nice family gathering. First off, normally when we go over for the weekend, we'll take my mother-in-law out for a drive or do something, go out for lunch or something like that. But as it turned out, my sister-in-law and my mother-in-law had appointment to get their hair done. And then we were staying at my brother-in-law's and sister-in-law's house, and they were also that weekend getting some work done on their stairs inside. And so Cameron and I were kind of left with decided to just might as well get out of the way of the work that was going on in the house, and kind of ended up with a little bit of time to just play tourist in Victoria, which we don't get to do very often because we usually just go for a weekend and it's, you know, taken up with family time. So we wandered around. It was a really nice day, sunny day, and we walked around the inner harbor of Victoria. That's where the Empress Hotel is. Pardon me, it's really well known for its afternoon tea. And that's where the British Columbia Parliament buildings are. That's where our Legislative Assembly meets. So we have in Canada, we have a Prime Minister that oversees Canada, and then each province has a Premier, and that oversees the province's government. And so that's where they meet, because Victoria is the capital city of British Columbia. Sorry again, my throat is just a little froggy here. So they're beautiful. Both the Empress and the Parliament buildings were designed by Francis Rattenbury, who was a well-known British architect around the turn of the 20th century. And he's designed a number of buildings in Victoria and other places in British Columbia. And I think Saskatchewan's Parliament buildings too. Looking up, just verifying his name, I learned that he was murdered in England at the age of 68 by his second wife's lover. So there's quite a story there, which I did not know before. But anyway, yeah, all the spring flowers are in bloom there too, and I've got a picture I'm going to include here with the tally-ho. That's the horse-drawn carriages that are quite a standard downtown Victorian. People they take you on a sort of a historic route. One of my brother-in-laws actually was driving one for a while, and the kids and I got to go on a ride. So it was kind of fun. That was quite a long time ago when my kids were actually kids. Anyway, yeah, it was a lovely time, and we walked around there, and then we went and had lunch at an Irish pub, which actually was located in another building designed by Francis Rattenbury, and it's on the site of the old Fort Victoria. Now, when I say fort, I don't mean military fort. Victoria was originally a fort for the Hudson's Bay Fur Trading Company, and so all of their locations they called forts, even though they weren't military forts. And then the building that stands there now is the old Bank of Montreal building that I think it was built, I think I read 1895. I think it was something about it on the menu. Anyway, we had a really nice, just a nice little few hours just alone together, and like I say, playing tourist. I did have a chance to go yarn shopping if I'd chosen to, but we just decided, we kind of decided to have another drink at lunch. Took us longer than we'd originally planned, and by the time we were done with that, it wasn't much time. And honestly, I didn't feel the need anyway to go shopping. And then on our way back to the car, we actually ran into some customers, past customers of Cameron's that used to live here on the mainland, and have got to know over the years. And so that was just a really nice surprise. They live in Victoria now, and we're running some errands. So we had a nice little visit with them too. So very nice day. And then we picked up food for dinner and went back to my brother-in-law and sister-in-law's house. And by then my mother-in-law and sister-in-law had returned from their hair appointment. And we were joined by another brother-in-law and his son and fiance, and so it was really nice. We had a very nice dinner together, and I'm so bad. I'll take my camera, and I so often neglect to take any pictures, so I made a point of getting some family pictures done, so that'll be nice. I think especially just how quickly, well, just having Cameron's aunt pass away so recently makes you realize how you should capture these kinds of moments. So I'm glad to have some nice pictures of Cameron with his mom and the brothers all together with their mom and spouses and everyone. We did a couple group photos with the timers, which was not the best, but at least we were all there together. And then we came home Sunday. Again, another really nice day. We were lucky. Well, we were lucky with our ferries on the way. Pardon me, on the way there. Usually it takes about an hour and a half on the long side to get to the ferry. This time on Friday afternoon, we ran into traffic everywhere, and it took us over 2 hours, but we were lucky enough to get on the 6 o'clock ferry about 20 minutes before it sailed, so that was perfect. And then we got the 11 o'clock home, so home in time to get groceries and kind of settle in for the evening. And then we turned around on Tuesday and headed all the way back out to Vancouver for his aunt's service, and then out close to the ferries where his cousin lives for a little family gathering after the funeral service. So Tuesday was a long day, but beautiful day again, and very nice as always. For it's a chance for family to see each other. Cameron actually has a very small extended family. At the time I met him, he had 4 cousins, 3 aunts, an uncle, and a grandfather. And I met one of his 4 cousins at the same time he did. He was 21 years old and she was in her 20s, and they had just never crossed paths before that. And the first time the whole family was together was at our wedding 34 years ago. So they're just all live different parts of Canada, so we just don't get together very often. So we were missing a few family members, but most of the family was there, including his 2 other aunts that came from out of town. And actually, sort of a similar thing happened. 2 of the second cousins, like the generation of our children, they met each other for the first time, and they are also in their 20s. So it's just it's strange for me. I've come from a really large family on both my mom and my dad's side, and have had lots of occasions over the years to gather with aunts and uncles and cousins, and so it always seems a little strange that with such a small family they really don't know each other really, really well. But it's just has to do with where everyone lives. So anyway, yes, despite the reason we were gathering, it was actually really nice to touch base with lots of these cousins and such. And then yesterday, Wednesday, yeah, not too much, except we had landscaper come over last night, take a look at our backyard and get a sense of what needs to be done back there as far as dealing with our water issue. And then he recommended that before they do that work and start landscaping, that we get the deck that we want to have put in place. And so that's going to be our first step. We assumed that dealing with the water would be the first step, but no, he said once the deck's in place, they will work from there. And then as far as leveling, they're doing a drain and leveling and reseeding, putting all new grass, whether we decide to do sod or seed, and doing the landscaping from there. So we have a friend who's a carpenter who's done a lot of work in our house, so I think he's supposed to be coming tomorrow. We'll start taking a look and coming up with some ideas as far as plans go. So I'm excited to get started on that project. We have a large backyard and has beautiful view, and we really just have not done it justice over the years. So now that we have the money and the opportunity, I'm really excited to really have it live up to its potential, because right now it's just a blank slate. And last night my husband played ball, and this year there's some of the ball fields are not available to our league as they were in the past, and so they've added some weeks instead of early game and a late game, there's now an early game, a late game, and a late game. So we didn't start till 10 after 9 last night, which seemed very, very strange. We've never played ball that late before. It's at a field that has lights, so even though it was dark by then, the field's well lit. And because it was so warm, surprisingly, it really was quite comfortable out there. And for most of the game, I didn't even need my jacket. I had like a long sleeve shirt and a hoodie over top and long pants and shoes and stuff, but I didn't need my jacket till quite a ways through the game. So that was a nice surprise, because I was expecting to be sitting out there freezing. And we had a good game. It was really close, but we lost by a few runs. But at least it was competitive, and everyone seemed to have a good time. I know my son who lives here, he's been started apartment hunting, condo hunting. So he's looked at a few places. He's put offers on a couple of them, and unfortunately was outbid. So that's unfortunate, but he's just started looking, so I'm confident that the right thing will come along. I know it's kind of an emotional roller coaster for him, especially the one he actually had looked at yesterday and put an offer on, and learned last night that his wasn't accepted, and he was quite disappointed in that, because he was really, really excited about the place he had seen. But I'm confident the right one will come along, but it's kind of it's not a fun process. It's like job hunting, right? You kind of get all excited about the possibilities, and then when you don't get the job, it's depressing. So hopefully it's not too long a process, and that he can find something to suit him soon. I think that brings us to the end of the podcast. I really don't have anything else to talk about. I'm kind of itching to cast on some new projects, which is bad, because I have a lot already on the go. I think a lot of what I have going now, other than like my Magnolia Socks, there's not a lot of, it's a lot of simple knitting, and I think I'm kind of itching for something a little bit more complicated. So I'll see. We'll see if these Magnolia Socks could just scratch that itch for now, because I really don't want to go starting a bunch of new things. We'll see. We'll see where the spirit takes me. I've also been looking. I have my cross stitch project that sits right close to where I sit in the living room, and I keep looking at it, and maybe that's what I'll do instead, is just pick that up and work on it for a bit, and that'll give me a bit of a change, and maybe just scratch that itch for doing something different. We'll see. Yeah, so that's it. Thanks for joining me this week. Thank you, as always, for any comments that you leave, any feedback. I appreciate when you reach out. It makes me feel like I'm not alone here talking to a camera, so thanks for that. I hope it is as beautiful weather where you are as it is here. It's just been, I think it makes everyone happy, you know. Everyone's in a good mood. It's just so nice to see the sunshine for an extended period of time. Yeah, so take care. I should see you next week as far as I know. So take care till then. Happy knitting. See you soon. Bye.